all our HERALD TV viewers a very warm welcome. We are presenting to you this is very special program, Health and Happiness. Health and happiness, they are the two sides of the same coin. If you are healthy, you will be happy. And if you are happy, you need to acquire good health to be happy and even more happy. There are various systems of medicine all over the world. We have been normally following the allopathic system. But of late, there has been a shift in medicine, and we have been now promoting in India the Ayurveda, and it is basically your Ayush program. That's what the government has launched, a new program. We are going to have an Ayush hospital in Goa for the first time. We had a minister from Goa in charge of Ayush, and Ayush stands for Ayurveda, Yoga, Naturopathy, Unani, Siddha, and Homeopathy. In Goa, I know that homeopathy is quite popular. Ayurveda is also popular. Yoga is catching up, and since we have Baba Ramdev, who also visited Goa, everybody seems to be fascinated with yoga, and naturopathy is also being now talked about quite loudly and clearly. We have two Americans with us.
Yes.
And it is important that these two Americans are now practicing what I have shared with you. They are in yoga, they are in Ayurveda, and in naturopathy. And let us share with us. They will be telling us, they'll be sharing with us what is happening in the Western world. They are in Italy, though Americans, but they are in Italy. And they have been propagating what we have been talking about, the new systems. How successful they have been, what is the demand there, that's what we have invited them to share with us. And welcome Joseph Rich from United States. We call you as Joe. And you are an expert in yoga, I was told. And you are a chef in Ayurveda. And we have another American with us, Victor Breer. Welcome, Victor.
Nice to be
And your expertise is Ayurveda, and you are an Ayurvedic practitioner and practitioner in Italy.
Yes.
It's quite strange that two Americans have gone for a shift.
Yes.
Why so?
Rising consciousness. The idea that I was actually trained allopathic. I was an epidemiologist at one time for the Center for Disease Control in the United States.
An epidemiologist now shifting.
Yes, because when you've worked clinics like I have, you saw the ineffectiveness, that you weren't getting at the root causes of many diseases. We were treating, and successfully treating, symptoms, but not the root cause. So the illnesses kept coming back. They became chronic as the patient got older. And we had to find something. I had to go on a search. I felt it was my responsibility as a trained healer to find a better approach to health. And I kind of stumbled upon it when I was a young man. Stumbled upon Ayurveda, and that led me to yoga, and I've studied yoga now for 25 years, Kundalini yoga.
So you are in 25 years now in
teaching yoga,
Ayurveda.
Ayurveda, I've been practicing for over 40 years. And
for 40 years?
Yes, sir. And I've been I'm a vegan for 42 years.
You are a vegan?
Yes.
Normally, American, westernized culture.
A lot of meat.
Okay, it's all meat-oriented.
Very
all
meat-oriented.
meat, and
Yes.
meat. What I liked about what you said is that we have been treating the symptoms and
Yes.
not the root cause.
Yes. Yes.
Is it right?
Yes, well, and that's why you have to get more involved in your own health care. You have to start paying attention to what you're eating and the conditions from how you're eating, and Victor will speak more to that. But we like to say, in the West, or maybe even in India, you've heard the saying, "You are what you eat," but we say something different. We say, "You are what you digest."
Yes.
And so the conditions under which you're eating, as well as what you're eating, is extremely important, because if you're all stressed out and, in a hurry, and you guys now are catching up to the West as to how you're always in a hurry, it's not good for the digestion. And so therefore, even if you put very healthy organic foods,
do you mean to say that our digestive system, our alimentary canal, is more for veg and...
yes, and Victor can tell
Victor,
you more and more about
throw
that.
light
So
on that.
throw some in there.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're basically set up to be vegetarian. Ayurveda is very clear on the diet rules that a human should follow if they want to be healthy into old age, right? And keep all their senses clear and keep their body fit, so that, exactly like you introduced, we can remain happy and live a joyful life and a life of service to the people who come after us. And so Ayurveda is very clear that in order to do that, you have to go light enough on your digestive system so that the body can absorb everything efficiently and then transform that food into the body itself.
Ultimately, what we eat has to be transformed into energy.
Energy and the actual tissues in our body. And if it only gets 75% transformed or 80% transformed, what's left over is called ama. And that ama is partially digested food on a microscopic level that gets trapped all over our body. And then that starts altering the function of the system, and then we develop disease from that.
So you attribute disease to the food intake?
Absolutely. So when you eat a really heavy diet, when meat is very heavy, all kinds of meat, any kind of animal flesh is very heavy to digest, there's a much higher chance of developing that ama.
Do you also agree with the same?
Totally agree. Absolutely. That's why I then became a chef also, because...
So you became a chef because you need to complement what you say.
Exactly, and educate.
And to make it more practical.
Yes.
And as a chef, what do you do?
Well, we started a restaurant in California when we lived there.
In California?
Yes. And so it's as much an educational process or experience, if you come, as it is an eating experience. But the two big things people would say is, I don't know how to cook this way. So education.
So you had to show them.
Yes. And then the second thing they'd say is, the food doesn't taste good. So I had to change that. So we made the food taste great, and we teach them how to do it.
Did people accept it?
Yes, and COVID really helped, because people became more health conscious, so they came and demanded it from us.
Yeah. And do you mean to say Americans basically are beef eaters?
All kinds of meat.
Tons of meat.
Yeah, well, now they're shifting more to chicken, because they think, the red meat is bad. But animal protein is difficult to digest. It's very acidic. Let's just leave it there.
It is acidic.
It's very acidic, and so
what we consume has to be more alkaline.
Yes, that's the trick.
That's
the trick. Yes.
Do you also follow the same principle?
Yeah, definitely. So Ayurveda would have you, when you eat something very heavy like meat, your body has to create a lot more acids in order to digest that food fully. And so people often get confused, especially in the West. They think that everything is happening inside the food. It's very nutrient-based philosophy. So I need my vitamin A, B, C, D, all that stuff. And it's all inside this food. But what they forget in the West is that when you eat something, your body has a relationship with that food and acts a certain way in response to what you put in. So when you put in something very heavy like meat, it produces a lot of acid, and that's what acidifies your body. So by eating a lighter diet, your body naturally tends towards an alkaline state.
Yeah, and most of these diseases that we are now watching today, they had their origin in the United States.
Yes, because they're stress related.
All stress related.
Almost all disease is stress related.
Even the soft drinks that we have.
Oh, please, quit drinking them.
They're all killing.
They're killing you.
They are killing everybody.
Yeah, that's all profit driven. They don't care about your health.
They wouldn't care.
No.
But are the Americans realizing the follies that they have gone through?
And the folly that they've been exporting.
Yeah. India, for example. Now you have been in Goa, you have been in the other parts of
Yes.
India
Yes.
from November onwards.
Yes.
So what is your feeling? Are people changing, or
Yeah.
they are
They're
west?
changing towards the west.
So Indians are changing towards the west.
Yes.
Is it good or not so
Not good.
It's
Please
not
don't.
good.
Please don't do it.
What do you say?
Yeah, it's definitely not good. You see all the diseases rising that the people suffer from in the West, and they're not diseases you want to suffer from. So sure, of course, there are some diseases that can be eradicated by allopathy very easily, but we're talking about the lifestyle diseases that develop over someone's lifespan of too much stress, heavy eating, junk food, doing all that while stressed out. That's the ultimate killer. And those diseases are rapidly increasing, and it's very dangerous.
Because we have the ultra-processed food,
Yes.
and ultra-processed food originated from the United States.
Correct.
Yes, absolutely. Convenience and speed. You know, you can eat on the move quickly. That was the whole idea.
Yeah, but then why haven't the people been thinking rightly and properly?
Because of the commercials do a great job of convincing you it's very cool and very hip, and the young people are attracted to that Western mindset because they push away from grandma's old tradition and go, oh, I want to be hip and cool and rich. The United States is very wealthy, and so that's very attractive to a young person.
So you had to go into this program of showing them how to get this
Yes.
type of food,
Yes.
and they have accepted it.
Yes, people are readily
realizing?
accepted. Yes. Yeah, people do, and when they've eaten it, even a couple of weeks, they come back and go, okay, I can feel the difference. So-
Are they feeling? Are they
Yeah,
feeling?
yeah,
As
yeah.
an epidemiologist,
Yeah.
you'll be able to tell us much
Oh,
more.
yeah, and then Victor is able to read their pulses, and any good Ayurvedic doctor, you've got lots of them here. But yes, we can tell within a couple of weeks if we're having the proper effect that we want to have by changing their diet.
And what made you to go to Italy? And do the Italians accept what you are now propagating?
Ayurveda is very new to the Italian culture, but not to the European culture. Actually, Germany, Poland, the Netherlands have adopted it very quickly.
Is it?
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
big.
They're very interested. There are a lot of Ayurvedic herbs being imported into those countries because the interest is so high. Italy, we're not the first, but we're one of the first Ayurvedic clinics to open up in a serious manner there. And so it will start to grow there as well because the rest of the Europe, it's already become.
But are there clinics now in Europe?
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
And they are doing well?
They're doing very well.
Germany's doing too well because they're buying up so many herbs and high quality herbs from India.
From India?
Yeah.
That they're
Yes.
starting to
India
drive
is-
up the cost of your herbs. You're going to pay the price for that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. So it's picking up.
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely.
To what you attribute exact cause for this new acceptance?
I think people are really tired of getting fed half-truths and lies about health, and they're looking for something real, and Ayurveda has been around for over 5,000 years, and it's time-tested and tried and true, and it comes from this land, and the people who get in touch with it sincerely see incredible health benefits.
And many a times, the products that go from India, they are not accepted by the Western world.
Correct.
What is the problem?
It's
And I'm sorry, I will continue and then you can take over. They say that there is lead content also in their products.
So it's a very interesting story about that I'll keep very short. Ayurvedic medicine has very sophisticated methods of purifying metals by mixing them with organic compounds. And so it's a long process and takes a lot of time to create those medicines so that they can be ingested by the human body and absorbed. In the 60s, people from the United States wanted to start selling those medicines, but because of the hurry, worry, curry mindset in the United States that's making everyone sick, they started trying to rush the people here in India who are producing those medicines. So they were creating shortcuts in the medicinal making process, and then those medicines would be toxic because they weren't being created properly. Then they were sold in the United States. The government doesn't understand all that and doesn't care and just says, no, you can't do it, and they instilled fear into the population.
Yeah. And what is now the acceptance level? Have things changed now, or it's the same methodology?
No, they've changed because there's been a lot of demand, and now people are starting to understand be interested in understanding the more sophisticated processes behind these creations.
And you're right now, your politicians are doing a great job of that. They're traveling and going to these foreign, our governments, the Western governments, and making it easier for these things to be exported, and creating systems so that everybody feels safe and secure with this happening. So they're
You
doing
are
a great job
also
of that.
an yoga expert.
Yes.
Do you practice it?
Well, of course.
And for how many hours a day?
No more than an hour and a half a day.
How and do the people also accept it?
Yeah, yoga in the West is too popular.
In the West, it is too popular.
Yeah, it's too popular. It's become like hip, cool. You go to, if you want to be cool, you roll up a yoga mat and go to a yoga class and walk around, and everybody thinks you're cool. But
And is it also the same in Italy?
In Italy, less than the United States, but yes, it's getting much more popular.
And you have been talking about your clinics.
yeah,
Are there good number of clinics in the United States?
there's lots of clinics, especially in the state of California.
In California?
Yeah, it's big in California and New York. The two coasts are big.
Okay.
Big.
What is the reason for?
Big populations and liberal populations, very liberal people.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
And in Italy?
In Italy, there are far less. Very few clinics in Italy. Maybe less than 20.
And you have been now in India for the last 3 months.
Yes.
You have met a lot of people, and
Yes.
you have seen how is that going now on in India,
Yes.
especially in this new approach to the
Yeah.
new.
Well, we hope to be opening up a clinic here in Goa.
You like to open a clinic.
Yeah, we've associated ourselves with a lot of the doctors, and Victor especially. So we hope to bring that is partly so that we can bring Americans here, rather than it being at a distance. Because when you experience Goa, I especially love Goa. So and we've taken an apartment year round here, so you'll see us too much. So, we want the full experience. It would be good for people to come here and feel the spirit of the people and see a different lifestyle, a different way of living, and have that experience, not watch it on TV where it's either, Bollywood or some documentary that makes India look dangerous and scary. It's neither. It's neither Bollywood nor dangerous or scary. And so we were going to try to pull Europeans and Americans to come here.
Once you establish
Yeah, we have to have something for them to come to, so a clinic.
what more or less are your plans?
Yeah, the plans are to bring, like Joe said, bring Westerners and Americans and Europeans here, but to have an experience of the wholesome parts of India from its extremely rich tradition, so that when they experience that, they understand, the basically healing secrets that have been kept in this country for millennia.
So you believe that we have the healing secret?
Absolutely.
Your whole culture is incredible. It's really, you guys, because you guys grew up in it, it's that old saying, you take it for granted. But
Are you convinced?
I'm convinced. Even down, this may sound silly or off topic, but even down to the way you guys dress. I mean, it's the colors and the brightness and the happiness that conveys. Again, that's how you started this show. Happiness brings health. And just the way you guys walk down the street and present yourself, and the women in their saris, well, men too, but it's just incredible. I mean, you guys shouldn't take it so for granted out there, and really prize yourself. And the West has a lot to learn from you. A lot.
The West has a lot to learn.
Yes, I believe
especially
so.
in this field that we have been talking.
Especially in this field, and I think also in the field of bringing peace to the world.
But they say that there has been not much good research on all this.
It's all happening now. It's all happening. Yoga is being researched by neurophysicists. All this wiring. They're taking yogis from all over the place, or the guys, from Nepal, or any of those dudes who've been meditating forever, and they're wiring them up and doing all these brain studies, and they're finding out everything that's ever been said is true. Same with Ayurveda. Now they're testing it all, and it's all being proven that it's absolutely true.
Do you agree with Joe?
Yeah, and at this point, there are so many studies on Ayurveda. It's
crazy.
Yeah, I mean, they're all over the place now. There's no shortage of studies for someone looking.
The research is,
It's there.
Solid.
but
Yeah.
I know it is there, but is it acceptable to the West?
That's a funny question about Westerners and research. Westerners respond more to marketing than they do to actual research. So you could take something that's semi-true, and if you market it well, Westerners will go for that much more than they'll go for a hardcore
So
research.
it's more of a marketing strategy
Absolutely.
than the healing.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Yeah.
The product lines.
The product lines.
And big corporations are.
Yeah.
are eating
Did
us
you
up.
see this during the Corona time?
Nah.
Big time.
Yes.
Especially with supplements.
Yeah.
Purchasing of
But
supplements.
because when we talk of all the supplements,
Yeah.
they normally say that if you have the proper amount, the quantity and the diversity of vegetarian food,
Yes.
they say that's why it should be a rainbow color, and
Yes.
fruits.
Yes.
You don't need most of the vitamins,
That's correct.
except maybe some supplements in D3, because if you don't get the proper quantity of the sunshine, then you need to add maybe some supplements. But as far as A and all the other vitamins, they said the right type of food,
Yes.
especially vegetables and fruits, it makes up for all your vitamins and minerals.
Yes. And let's throw in there, you got to keep the soil healthy.
Yeah, if the soil is healthy. But the soil, all of a sudden we saw this fertilizers that came. Again, they came from America.
Right.
Don't use
And
them.
then we have the GMOs, the genetically modified foods. So all this has been altered by the Americans
Money.
for money,
For money, not for health.
not for health.
Right.
No.
And how is that the people have fallen for all this?
Good marketing.
They themselves want to be wealthy and they want to cut corners and have it be okay. That's an American mindset that's coming to India, and it's not healthy.
So
Don't
we're
do
changing for the worse.
Change
not
for the
good.
worse.
Change for the worse.
Yes.
Change for the
Yeah.
worse.
Yes.
Resist it. Resist it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you been practicing yoga and also sending the message to the others that this is the way forward?
Yes, absolutely. Yoga should be part of everybody's daily life, but not the yoga, not so focused on the asanas, but focused more on the breath work and the calming effect and the change in the central nervous system. Again, we can go right back to it. Calm, focus, good digestion, good health.
Yeah. Do you also agree that this will change is the need of the hour?
Oh, absolutely. Because when people are not calm, like Joe was saying, they start behaving in ways that are not authentic to themselves. And in those behaviors, that has a ripple effect on everyone around, and everyone starts suffering. And when there's enough of that suffering, the behaviors get worse and worse and worse, and it never ends. It keeps going until we have an environment that's collapsing.
And environment also plays a big role
Everything.
in health.
And that's good. And, you know, right now in these last couple of weeks, we've been hearing report after report of how Goa is experiencing record high temperatures.
Yes.
Well, here it comes. So no one's going to escape it, whether you're the fault or not. The United States, of course, takes a heavy responsibility, but so does India, because India is the highest methane producer of any country in the world.
Yeah.
So we either going to come together and become brothers and sisters in this battle and change our lifestyle, which will mean we'll have to eat
Because
vegan.
we are talking about the warming up.
Yes.
And warming up also is because of the animals,
Yes. 17% of all methane gases are due to animal farming.
to the animal farming.
Yes, sir. And so it's one of the single largest contributors. And so that has to change. We have to quit eating meat. Even the dairy, way we're collecting milk, which you guys are the best at. You have, A2 milk, which we highly advise if you're going to drink milk. Please drink that kind of milk. But again, how we keep our cows. It's one thing if they're out and doing the grass and all that. It's
Yeah,
another
because
thing
they
when-
say cows, it should be grass.
Yes, that's what they're made to eat.
Yeah. But now they have changed the style of feeding the cows.
Right. If anybody's been to America, you've seen the big feedlots and the cow. It's horrible, and the cows don't even go outside. Or if they're outside, they have no space to move, and they're unhealthy and they're full of disease, and the disease is passed into the milk, and then Americans drink it. So come on, we all know where that's going to
Are
take
you
you.
on the same page with Joe?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so cows, just like us, are mammals. They have a similar nervous system setup. They feel stress, they feel pain, they feel fear. And when the body feels those things, it produces hormones. We know it as adrenaline and all that stuff, or cortisol. And the cows do the same thing. And then that circulates through their blood, and it's the blood that creates the milk. So then the milk is full of these stress hormones, and then humans drink that, and it doesn't digest well. And so we start developing diseases because of that.
But it causes us to grow very quickly in our youth also because of all these things in the milk, and people go, oh, you're getting bigger, but that leads to chronic illnesses, and by the time we're 30, 40 years old, it's cancer. That's one of the causes
obesity
of cancer.
is on the
Obesity,
then cancer is also.
and diabetes.
And diabetes is
That's the connection. Obesity and diabetes run together.
Yes.
And so
all part of your metabolic syndromes.
yeah, and
Exactly.
the clinic here and in Italy will have a huge focus on that, and Victor's in the process with with Ayurvedic doctors here in India. That's part of the reason we've been here traveling to interview doctors, and because he's writing a book on that subject, diabetes and obesity.
Could you elaborate a little more on this?
Yeah, Ayurveda has a lot to say about diabetes, and it's been dealing with it highly successfully for thousands of years. But of course, thousands of years ago, the prevalence of it was almost nothing. It was a relatively uncommon disease. Now you have over 50% of Europeans suffering from obesity. America's even worse, and India's rising to meet that. And India's been one of the leaders of diabetes, the population per capita, higher rate of diabetes in the history, recent history, but United States has overtaken them now. But as India mimics the Western lifestyle, it's going to rise even more here, the rate of diabetes and obesity. And it's become an epidemic. And it's an epidemic of lifestyle suffering, sedentariness, lethargy, hopelessness, depression. All those things lead to the behaviors that cause those diseases. And Ayurveda is great at reversing it because it doesn't just say, here, take this pill, you'll be fine, maybe.
Insulin.
Right? It says we have to be accountable for our lifestyle because it's the lifestyle that's generating the happenings in the body that result in diabetes.
Because ultimately they say these are all the lifestyle diseases.
Correct.
And as Joe has said, we have been imitating the West, especially the Americans,
Yes.
which is not a very healthy thing
No.
to do.
Please stop.
Yeah.
We had a nice share of our thoughts on a new methodology of medicine, and we are very grateful to Joe as well as to Victor for being with HERALD TV.
Thank you. Thank you.
May you all grow in what you are
Yes.
doing. May more people be given better and greater health, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.